All right, guys, there's just one last issue that's driving me crazy about the Wes Watson beatdown of this poor disabled man at Elevation Fitness in Miami, Florida, and that is the entourage. You know, looking over the old Wes Watson videos, because I gotta be honest, I didn't watch his stuff. I knew of him because PJ liked him, whatever, thought he was a cool guy. This is before he went to prison. This is back when I ran the Blackstone Labs Legion. I might have said hello to him or something on DM. But I didn't watch his videos. It's not my cup of tea. You know, a grown man shouting at other grown men about, you know, how inadequate they are and how they don't look like anything and how they got to shape up and look like him. Otherwise, they're not men. And they got to drive a fancy car and have a bunch of bling and money and a pretty girl by their side. Otherwise, they're not successful. None of that does it for me. You know, I don't wear like Nike stuff or freaking, you know, Prada stuff. I mean, I wear strength addict stuff and I just, you know, whatever. I don't care about brands. Funny thing, there was a case, I think it was in New York somewhere, you know, somebody was selling knockoffs and they were saying this shirt right here is only 40 bucks. But if you put a Hugo Boss on it, now it's $800. I mean, who would, you know what I mean? It's just it's a brand, but whatever. There are people that measure success and manhood and intelligence and whatever based on that kind of crap. It's not me. So I never really cared about his channel or his content. However, I was looking at some old videos and some of the more popular comments, you know, comments that have been given like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and thousands of thumbs up, were comments from people saying, hey, why are you calling people out to fight you one-on-one seeing as you have a security entourage? And that's kind of a really good point. Because, I mean, if you're holding yourself out to be kind of this, you know, street tough individual, you know, this shot caller from level 4 prisons that, you know, is ready to get down at the drop of a hat. Meanwhile, you've got a security entourage of people, you know, that's kind of a cop-out. Now, as an attorney, though, we're always looking for money. And that sounds really bad, but really, it isn't bad. It's actually proactive. If you're going to file suit, you want to make sure that the person or persons, people that you're suing, have assets, you know, whether they have homes, whether they have some liquidity, whether they have some, you know, 401ks, investments, anything. Because let's say that you get a big judgment. How are they going to pay for it? Last thing you want is to get a big judgment against a person or an entity, and then they file for bankruptcy or bankruptcy protection, and then you don't get anything. So it would be very interesting if the people that were with Wes were actual licensed, this next word is very important, licensed, bonded security officers. Now, just because they look like a bunch of scrubs, you know, wearing like, you know, champion attire or whatever, you know, wearing faded out t-shirts and, you know, some, you know, ghetto ass looking shorts or whatever, doesn't mean they couldn't be security. I mean, look at our U.S. Secret Service. I mean, they wear some hideous attire sometimes, but they want to blend in. You know what I mean? If Joe Biden goes to a luau or something, or I don't know, the late amazing President Jimmy Carter was out doing Habitat for Humanity, building homes for the poor, Secret Service aren't going to be rocking, you know, a 3-piece suit. You know what I mean? They're going to be in a t-shirt and shorts and maybe have some paint on it. Doesn't mean that they're not ready to kick ass when necessary. It's just that they have to blend in. So, you know, maybe these scrubs, you know, they blended in with Wes, you know, or maybe they don't want to upstage Wes, so they let Wes look a little bit better and they kind of do that. Whatever. The point, though, is that could you imagine if this was contracted security? Could you imagine if these dopes actually were employed by a company with assets, you know, that had insurance? Because listen, I know you got to protect your client no matter what. That doesn't include beating on someone, you know, when it's 5-on-1 while they're on their knees and you clobbering them over the head with a dumbbell or, you know, whatever. You can't do that. Plus, I don't think that you can actually participate in a gang beating as part of securing and protecting your client. I don't think that the statutes really allow for that. And I'm sure whoever their insurance carrier is would be very upset by that. Now, they might try to not cover it, but good luck with that. More than likely what will happen is they'll turn around and sue the security company, but this victim will get paid. So the reality of the matter is, you know, if these guys were in fact security hired by Wes, whether by a middleman or directly from a company, that would be very interesting in terms of a lawsuit. In terms of the criminal side of the case, it would be very interesting as well because this victim has only pressed charges on Wes Watson. Now, I wonder if the identities of these other individuals were at least taken in by the police department. I would imagine that they would be people of interest. I would imagine at the very least they would be witnesses. They're part of it, right? But if the police didn't see the full video, and again, we don't know what video they saw. That's the thing. I want to let go of this story. I want to talk about Chris Aceto and Sugar Sean Ray battling over whether or not Derek Lunsford needs a coach. I'm actually writing an article about that for IronMagazine.com. But I cannot get off of this subject until I really feel like I've covered all bases. And I feel like when you have 4 or 5 other co-defendants in the case on the criminal side and 4 or 5 other people that are liable in a civil case, you can't just let them get away. That's the thing. Also, we don't know if these 4 or 5 guys were members of Elevation Fitness or not. We don't know if they bought day passes like the victim did. We don't know if they were Wes's clients or if they were his security. We don't know if they were in a gang. For all we know, they might have been in a gang. Now, some of my comments have also said, now I don't know if this is true or not. You will have to go and do your own investigating. I'm just putting this out there on my video as a possible. So I want you to kind of earmark this as a possible. But a lot of the people that have left comments on my videos have said that they could hear Wes use the N word. This is a word that begins with the letter N. It's a letter that has 2 G's and ends in an R. It also has an E and an I in there. If he said that right before he kicked the man in the head, this could be a hate crime. Now, I'm not saying that Wes is a bigot. I mean, just because he is a self-proclaimed shot caller in an all-white prison gang in California does not mean that he's a racist. But, you know, it could mean that. I mean, it would certainly hold up in court, criminally and civilly. Now, if it is a hate crime, now we're talking federal. Now we're talking federal. But I don't know if he actually said that or not. I don't know. I don't know. The point, though, is that there's a lot here. And I really would like the identity of those individuals that participated, because some helped bring the victim down. Others struck the victim with their feet, with their fists, with a dumbbell. I mean, are we going to just look the other way with those guys? Because I'm not going after Wes because he's got a big following on YouTube. I'm going after Wes because I don't like bullies. I don't like seeing gangs attack people. I myself have been jumped. I'm from Miami. I know what that's like. It isn't pleasant, especially when you're going to what you assume is a one-on-one fair fight, and you're, you know, to me, it's one of those things where. And then on top of that, the guy has special needs. I mean, I think that's what really, for me, did it, because as much as I loved Rich Piana, and I really, really thought the world of Rich Piana, but when he slapped Jason Genova around, I lost a lot of respect for him, a lot. And even though Rich said he didn't know, listen, folks, you talk to Jason for a few minutes, a few seconds, and you know. He's very smart. But you know that there's something going on. And for you to take advantage, and then what really made my blood boil with the whole Rich Piana, Jason Genova thing is after Rich slapped him around, and very much like this case with Wes Watson, did Jason get a single slap at Rich? Nothing. Did this guy that got beat up by Wes and his Confederates, did he even get a punch in? Did he get anything in? What, he touched his shoulder? That is all he got. That's it. But after all that, Jason hugged. Do you guys remember that? Jason hugged Rich Piana. Because Jason is like pure love. I mean, he's got some scamming qualities, you know, like with that little girl Emma, you know, and he's you know, he likes asking for drones and coins and stuff, and you know, but really though, if you know Jason, it's like he's like pure love. He's got such a nice heart, and he's such a nice kid. And after getting slapped around by Rich, he hugs him. I mean, really made my blood boil. I mean, that's why when Mack Truck slapped him, I really could care less, because I thought, you know what, Mack Truck should have thrown a chair at your ass, because I loved you, Rich. God rest your soul. But that with Jason, I mean, it really pissed me off. So seeing this you know, this shot caller, gang leader, level 4, you know, big old badass motherfucker, you know, having to use 4 other guys and a weight belt, you know, and it just really pissed me off, you know what I mean? So again, are these assholes members of Elevation Fitness? Are these assholes Wes's clients? Are these assholes in a gang? Are these assholes hired security? Who are these assholes?